Hello, my name is Reverend Otis Moss III. I serve as senior pastor and servant leader at Trinity United Church of Christ. I want to share with you, one, a major celebration and shout out to the Franklinton Center for 150 years of work of blessing the people. But I also want to share with my other colleagues in ministry that this is a great time for us to support the Franklinton Center. None other than Dr. Yvonne Delk, who I claim as mother and auntie, has called us specifically to make this call on video. But Trinity United Church of Christ is a supporter of Franklinton Center, and I encourage you to do the same so they continue to train young people to be a free space where people can explore their call and their connection to God. The Franklinton Center. It's worth your time. The Franklinton Center needs your support, and the Village of Trinity United Church of Christ is in support of the Franklinton Center, and we encourage you to do the same. Let us not only say that we pray for the center, but let's also provide resources for this center that has been in operation for 150 years. I'm Otis Moss III. I serve at Trinity United Church of Christ, and I support the Franklinton Center.
God, this day and every day, I want to be my Sunday's best.
Sundays best. I'm dressed up in my Sunday
And one of the pieces from the song talks about, look at my life, I'm destined for greater, and I'm dressed up in my Sunday's best. You know, we get sharp for Sunday, and we are so excited about Sundays. We're getting with our family, we're getting the word, we're getting some good food, and our best times are on Sunday. And I just wanted to be able to put on the full armor of God to be able to continue to feel that way throughout the week. And so I was like, you know, what kind of song, what kind of words can you give me that will help me have this feeling whenever I play the song, or someone else, when you're going through a week. And I have so many songs that you'll listen to and you'll say, man, it's just a good song that makes me feel good or reminds me how good God is. And, you know, we put on so many things. We put on our depression. We put on our frustration. We put on our chaos. We put on the confusion of the world. And what we need to do is put on our Sunday's best, God's armor, his love, his protection, his faithfulness. And this is what the song is supposed to be pouring into you, how good God is. Because regardless of what has happened to us, God has kept us here. And he's allowed us to experience some things, and he's allowed us to do some things and give us some opportunities. And that favor has kept us and continue to grow us as a family and as a person. There's so many things that we deal with. And so that Sunday's best just came from a spirit of wanting to be able to cover myself in God's love, my family, my faith, and all the good food, all the good feelings that come with your Sunday's best is where it derived from. So I'm just so thankful that you guys can be a part of this with me. I'm so excited about the opportunity, and I thank you for your support and your love. I love you all so much. Thank you.
Greetings, friends and siblings of Franklinton Center at Bricks. My name is Reverend Tracy Blackman, and I am privileged to serve as Associate General Minister of Justice and Local Church Ministries for the United Church of Christ. I apologize for my shaky video. I am in a hotel room, but I could not let this moment pass, this opportunity to express my adoration and my gratitude for Franklinton Center at Bricks and all it has meant to the United Church of Christ, and particularly what it has meant to me. For 150 years, you have been a liberating force for Black people. And although the years have changed, your commitment to justice and freedom has not. My first encounter with the wider church was at Franklinton Center, where I was invited to the Conference of African American Women in Ministry. Once I set foot on that hallowed ground, I knew that Franklinton was a powerful and a unique place. And I am so grateful that Franklinton Center remains connected to the United Church of Christ. Thank you for the ministry that you do there, for the feeding of people, both with food and with spiritual nourishment, for the cultural enrichment that you provide, for the safe place that you offer for people to come and work out their soul salvation. And thank you for the legacy that continues of liberating Black people in every way imaginable. In honor of the service of Vivian in that place, someone who is dear to my heart and whose spirit touches mine whenever she is in the proximity, I pledge to you as a seed offering for your fundraiser, $10,000 from Justice and Witness. I can't give it to you today. I'm in Oklahoma, standing with the family of Julius Jones, but you know I'm good for it, and the check is in the mail. God bless you, and may the labor of your hands produce great fruit, and may you exceed your goal of $150,000 for this virtual event. God bless.
I'm Yvonne Delk. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of Franklinton Center, and I'm also a member of its Council of Elders. Well, this is a season for giving thanks, and I give thanks for Franklinton Center at Bricks, and for this anniversary, which is celebrating 150 years of our witness of freedom and justice and liberation. And this celebration allows us to just stop for a little while and reflect on who we are in ways that will have binding authority for our identity and our mission. The logo of Franklinton Center is the Sankofa bird. And the Sankofa bird flies forward, but with its head looking back to remember where it has come from. And is carrying an egg in its mouth to plant in the present and the future. It's filled with truths and understandings and insights that are so important to our continued survival. The Sankofa bird is a symbol of our commitment to honor the past, to respond to the needs of the present, and to keep on building for those who are yet to come. So in this Virtual-A-Thon, we're taking the time to reflect, just to look back to 1871 and connect to the story of a people who emerged out of slavery with few financial resources, but with an abundant supply of faith and courage and imagination. This is a story about planting churches and building educational institutions, empowering leadership. It's a story about a people who overcame evil, pushed past boundaries, and blazed an unbelievable path of freedom and liberation. It's a story, though, about a faith-based people, of people who were empowered and infused by their faith. Definitions couldn't contain them, and imposed limitations couldn't imprison them. This is the story of the Afro-Christians in North Carolina, Franklinton, North Carolina, who taxed their members 10 cents each just to build a school. And that school we honor today, Franklinton Christian College, established in 1871. But it's also the story of the mothers and fathers who came out of the cotton fields of a slave plantation in Briggs, North Carolina, and walked into a future made possible by the Briggs Normal School established by the American Missionary Association. So whether you enter our story from the Franklinton part or the Briggs part, it's clear that faith and education and freedom and justice are recurring themes over and over again. And let me get personal. Franklinton Center is also my story. It's my home too. I came from my home church, Macedonia Afro-Christian Church, to Franklinton Center when I was 8 years old to attend summer camp. Well, guess what? I'm now 82 and I'm still connected, serving as one of its elders. And in this historical space, I was reminded that I was the heir of a great legacy that had come before me, and that it was really my responsibility to pass it on to those who would come after me. In this space, I was nurtured in the faith. It was at Franklinton Center that I was inspired to say yes to my call to ministry. I am because of all of those who touched me, inspired me, saw more of me than I ever saw in myself at Franklinton Center. So I got to say thank you, Purcell Austin and Catherine and J. Taylor Stanley and Judson and Ora King, Leila Anderson, Reverend W.H. Thomas and Reverend Joseph M. Copeland, so many more, but I got to say thank you to them. And just as I call Franklinton Center my home, you know what? I hope you will visit our center and receive our heartfelt greeting of welcome home. Because whenever you enter our grounds, our director, Vivian Lucas, she always says, welcome home. And on the occasion of this 150th anniversary, I'm echoing her, welcome home. Welcome home to a space where you will connect to the legacy of the ancestors. The very fields where they picked cotton continues to surround us. The walking trail is here, representing the path they forged as they stepped out of the cotton fields into a future of resistance and resilience and hope. Historical buildings are here. The very classrooms they sat in are here. And they've left us testimony after testimony of survival and resistance against all odds. They've left us a blueprint for freedom and justice. And when we walk the grounds of the center, we're actually walking the same historical ground they walked. So welcome home to this place where we remember our story, where our spirits are nurtured, a place where we are empowered and equipped with skills for the liberation of our people. Welcome home to the place where social justice advocates come for rest, renewal, but also for strategizing, organizing, and empowering for social justice ministries. Welcome home to this place where African American women in ministry come, connect to one another, support one another, equip themselves for their ministry, and receive the spirit of the ancestors that are all around them. Welcome to this space where clergy, laity, and youth come to get themselves ready for leadership in their churches and in their communities. And welcome to our space where the community all around us come. They receive food from our gardens and Wi-Fi from our broadband, and the use of our space can be used for learning hubs for their local school. They come for COVID-19 testing and vaccination. They come for affordable health care and for voter education plan. And guess what? Welcome home to this place where the school children all around us come and walk our historical ground with pride and with honor and with dignity as they celebrate their history. On this, our 150th anniversary, I welcome you to this holy space, historical space, sacred space, freedom and liberation space. We know the challenges are many, but guess what? Once in motion, justice and equality just can't be turned back. So this is our 150th anniversary. So I want you to celebrate us. I want you to support us. And I want you to give to us. We need your support so that we can continue this important work that we are doing on these grounds. We thank you for taking the time to just tune in and to be with us. Connect with us. This is your home. And in this place, you're going to discover a bridge that connects the past, the present, and the future. Once again, as your elder, I say welcome home. Guess what? Home is where the story and legacy of the mothers and fathers are here. Home is where we affirm that we really have come this far by faith with resilience, strength, hope, and courage that trials and tribulations just can't turn back. And home is where we receive the commitment, conviction, and charge that we who believe in freedom just can't rest until it comes. Welcome to the 150th anniversary of Franklinton Center at Bricks. And guess what? We'll be expecting you to come and walk these grounds. And guess what? Tell others about it. So give today, but let others know about this wonderful historical space. This is Franklinton Center at Bricks. Welcome.
Greetings and peace. I'm Reverend Dr. Waltrina Middleton. I serve as Executive Director with the Community Renewal Society in Chicago, Illinois. When one enters the grounds of the Franklinton Center at Bricks, you enter sacred grounds. Its rich legacy of being a sacred clearing space for education, social justice, and faith formation is indelible. During my tenure as a youth advocate and leader with the national setting of the United Church of Christ, Franklinton's director, Minister Vivian Lucas, and the entire Franklinton family inspired our youth and young adult leaders during our retreats and leadership formation programming. The sacred narratives of Franklinton Center created opportunities for our young leaders to pause, pray, and prepare for ways they wish to be the change they hope for. On those sacred grounds, our youth and young adults felt the presence of ancestors and took away new narratives they learned about race, class, and cultural divides with them to their respective places, making a new connection and understanding of the intersectionality of faith and social justice. As a seminarian of Chicago Theological Seminary, exploring womanism, Black liberation theology, as also an alumna of Howard University, established only a few years after Franklinton by the same charter mission, I visited the campus of Franklinton often, and I was blessed to attend retreats led by the Reverend Dr. Bernice Powell Jackson, Reverend Yvonne Delk, and hosted by Minister and Director Vivian Lucas in support of women in ministry. gatherings convened by brilliant Black women from all over the country empowered us with a pure message of self-love, self-care, unity, and a commitment to coming together annually and being cognizant of social justice causes. These women poured into me deeply, and these are experiences that continue to give me life today. I can recall one retreat where we prayed and worshiped and poured libation near the whipping post when a strong breeze swept through the place and it felt like Pentecost. And I can say that the ancestors were present, the Spirit abided, and the place was sacred and holy. This was our clearing space, as Dr. Delk and Dr. Jackson would often say. This was our brush arbor, and it still is a place for Black women clergy to experience a unique rite of passage. So I celebrate this rich legacy of Franklinton Center and all of the ways that it continues to be sacred and holy grounds for youth scholars, emerging young adult leaders, a healing balm for the broken, a place of restoration, a place of worship, a place to revive the spirit, a place to bear witness, a place to return to love, and a safe place to come home to time and time again. My soul has certainly been blessed and my belly fed at Franklinton. We can't forget the wonderful meals, hospitality, and welcome that the staff and Miss Lucas provides, with down home sitting on the front porch with some sweet tea and biscuits, kind of Southern charm and care. And as for me personally, I have deep gratitude for the three women I have mentioned earlier, Minister Vivian Lucas, Dr. Yvonne Delk, and Dr. Bernice Powell Jackson, for their purposeful, powerful, prophetic, and pioneering ways of showing up as teachers, preachers, and mentors for so many. They will literally sit on the floor with you, get up and pray at the break of dawn with you, offer wise counsel and truths, and root for you to win. And as I think of Franklinton and its rich legacy, I think of these powerful human spirits. If not for the women in their leadership, and particularly Black women carrying upon their shoulders and at their breasts the hard work of ministry, witness, liberation, movements, family, careers, education, and service, I ask, where would we be? So I say their names while they are here with us and cherish their legacies, which respectively have served as strong pillars, keeping the ministry at Franklinton Center alive as well. Under Minister Vivian Lucas' management, Franklinton Center has exponentially expanded its outreach, has strengthened its connection and community, and it has a sustainable blueprint for its historic preservation for years, centuries to come. As Vivian prepares to retire after more than a decade of unmatched leadership, she leaves this gem in our community in excellent standing. Congratulations to you, dear Vivian, on your next. And congratulations, Franklinton Center at Bricks, on achieving this new milestone. May God continue to shine brightly upon these sacred grounds for years to come. Ashe, amen. Thank you.
I'm the Reverend Dr. Henry T. Simmons, Chair of the Board of Trustees of Franklinton Center at Bricks Incorporated, and a member of its Council of Elders. Someone once remarked that we human beings can live several days without food or water, but we cannot live 1 second without hope. Thus, as we celebrate the 150th anniversary of Franklinton Center, I give thanks for the harvest of hope it has perennially produced. The center's 254 acres of fertile farmland were once part of a sprawling plantation where seeds of dehumanization were sown into the hearts and minds of enslaved Africans. But it later became a space where the descendants of those slaves were liberated through seeds of education planted in their hearts and in their minds by institutions of formal education founded and supported by their own meager resources and indomitable faith. During the Jim Crow era, the center served as a space for spiritual growth and development and leadership development by the Afro-Christian Church and the former Convention of the South. It was during that time, 60 years ago, that I first set foot on that sacred soil for a church summer camp for youth. The center was where strategies for the civil rights movement of the 1960s and the liberation empowerment movements of the 1970s and 80s were crafted. And it is where numerous social justice organizations convene today to train new advocates for the ongoing struggle to secure social justice. Thus, when I reflect on the center, I give thanks for the transformative difference it makes in the lives of the discouraged and the denied. For a century and a half, it has helped embolden and equip multitudes of hearts and hands to advance the noble enterprise of human liberation. It is a space that welcomes the constantly locked out and overlooked to feel the warm embrace of possibility for new, unfettered living. At Franklinton Center at Bricks, hope is sown and harvested. Thus, I give thanks for the opportunity to continue the saga of this incredible instrument of social change. The persistence of poverty and economic inequity in rural settings for Black folk and other people of color, the stubborn entrenchment of racism and sexism, homophobia and xenophobia, and other forces that deny the basic human right of selves to be, demand that seeds of empowerment be planted and nurtured, that succeeding generations of justice ambassadors must be identified and trained, that new innovative usages of land must be explored, and that a precious history of a people who refuse to crumble in the face of marginalization must be preserved. I give thanks for the blessing of tilling afresh the soil of self affirmation and placing within it what brings forth strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. When one visits Franklinton Center, one is likely to see all manner of crops growing on that ground. But when you go there, I urge you to view and value a towering magnolia tree at the edge of a vast growing field. It was not there when the site was a plantation. It was not there when the Franklinton Christian College was founded in 1871. No, it was planted about 25 years ago at the behest of Reverend Bernice Powell Jackson, then executive minister of the Justice and Witness Ministry of the United Church of Christ. It was not planted to enhance the center's landscape appeal, but it was planted as a living testimony to honor ancestral quest for freedom from oppression. You see, during the agony of institutionalized slavery, magnolia trees were often used to mark houses and churches, serving as stops on the Underground Railroad that delivered runaway enslaved Africans to freedom. And what makes that magnolia tree so special is that it is planted at what was believed to have been the plantation's whipping post. where slaves were unmercifully punished and harmed. That tree is planted there to bear witness to the fact that the very place of pain and hurt can transform into a place of promise and hope by those who breathe the air of justice. And that's why I'm so thankful for Franklinton Center at Bricks. We can live for many days without food and water, but we can't live 1 second without hope. So I invite you to join our board and our staff in strengthening the center, that it may bring forth even greater harvest of hope for the long disallowed and disenfranchised. Give thanks for that which moves justice forward, which sets souls free, and which ushers in a time where all people may know their inherent goodness and greatness. Give to this Virtual-A-Thon, but also give day by day so that this sacred space might produce even greater harvest of hope. Bless you and peace unto you.
Hello, I'm Reverend Brenda Square, and I have the great opportunity of serving as Minister for the Afro-Christian Legacy and Preservation Project. This is a wonderful new collaboration between the United Church of Christ Historical Council and the board of Franklinton Center at Bricks. I first visited Franklinton Center while working as an archivist and attending a meeting of the Southern Conference. From the moment I drove onto the grounds of Franklinton Center, I knew that I was in a sacred space. I recognized that the original schoolhouse and the cotton growing and the people of the community represented a laboratory for researchers to explore and discover the history and the sacred power that allowed people to come from slavery to freedom. It represents a space where the unique collaboration of the partners from all streams of the United Church of Christ came together to tap into the sacred roots of power and create new ministries to deliver and bring forth empowerment, hope, healing, restoration, and justice. We at the Franklinton Center know that it is our important obligation to God to tell this story. And so we're on the trail of the Afro-Christians, working to trace the amazing contributions of this hidden history, a history that comprises a unique denomination which continues to make significant contributions to the life and ministry of the United Church of Christ, not just the UCC, but to the world at large. So we're documenting this history, and we will have original stories, papers, photographs, institutional records of churches, organizations that have been touched by the Franklinton Center experience. We're working to preserve the story of how the Black Congregationalists, the Afro-Christians, came together to create the Convention of the South. We're preserving the story of the Afro-Christians, which has been largely overlooked. It is a story that begins in 1852 in Chesapeake, Virginia, a story of the emergence of churches that comprise 25,000 members, 150 churches, 150 Sunday school, independent publishing, broad women's ministries, which served in the United States, South America, and Africa. We hope that you will join in this celebration of Thanksgiving by giving back to the future restoration, preservation of the history of the Afro-Christians and the history and contribution and continued work and ministry of Franklinton Center at Bricks, where we are moving from enslavement to empowerment and enlightenment, tapping into sacred history as sacred wisdom from the past to empower, enlighten, and strengthen the future. Thank you so much. Congratulations to Franklinton Center at BRICS. God bless you all. Thank you.
If you'd like to contribute to our 150 YKD campaign, you can go to our website at Franklinton Center at BRICS and select Give, and you will be directed on how to make an online contribution. You can also send a check to Franklinton Center at BRICS, Inc. at P.O. Box 220, Whitakers, North Carolina, 27891. And thank you for your support.